G'day everyone, Living in Bad Faith here, and today I've got some Battlefield Bad Company 2 and some Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, and that could only mean one thing. That means I'm going to be talking about the future releases of Modern Warfare 3 and Battlefield 3. And I know that every man and his dog has made a commentary video where they're discussing this, but yeah, I just want to get my opinion out there because it's one I haven't heard yet, or it's a point of view that I haven't heard yet, and I think maybe it's something for you guys to think about as to which game could make it big at the end of this year. So so for those of you who don't know, which I doubt there is any of you, I doubt there's anyone in the machinima community who doesn't know that both the Call of Duty franchise and the Battlefield franchise both have games coming out towards the end of this year at about the same time, and there has been a heated discussion online as well as specifically within the machinima community as to which is going to be better, or which is going to sell more. And so I'm just going to be talking about which is going to sell more. I'm not really a big sort of techie on the whole gaming scene thing, so I couldn't tell you, I couldn't really speculate with any sort of accuracy as to which game would be better. But I do have an opinion on as to which game is going to sell more, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. So just to kick things off, it's important to note that both of these franchises have relatively large fan bases in comparison to smaller first-person shooter franchises. Although it's pretty undeniably clear that COD has the larger fan base. You can just look to any machinima channel except for Realm. So just the major, just some of the machinima channels. The ones that do the action games, let's say, it's pretty clear that the Call of Duty franchise is more popular. So the ratio of sort of Battlefield games to COD games uploaded by machinima to YouTube is incredibly small, and there's a lot more COD gameplays out there. But the thing I wanted to talk about is not just the dedicated gamers, not just their way of seeing things, but also sort of the casual gamers and how the casual gaming market will affect which game could sell more at the end of this year. And so in general, the number of dedicated gamers is a lot smaller than the number of casual gamers. So just taking machinima for example, which is possibly the largest online community of content uploaders and viewers. It has about 2.5 million people in the community. That's basically just their subscriber number, which I'm just taking as a relatively accurate guess as to the size of the community in itself. So there's about 2.5 million-ish sort of dedicated gamers out there. But and I'll just make the assumption that all of those people own Black Ops. I know I know a lot of people might rage at that assumption because there are machinima fans who don't play Call of Duty and who don't play Black Ops and don't own Black Ops or own any Call of Duty games. I for one happen to not own Black Ops, so I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but just for simplicity's sake, let's say the whole 2.5 million own Black Ops. But when you so about 2.5 million sort of dedicated gamers, let's say COD gamers. But when you sort of look at that in comparison to the fact that there was 15 million copies of Black Ops sold so far, our little 2.5 million sort of community doesn't really seem that much, and it only makes up about 13 to 15-ish% of that 15 million, which is small. So all our sort of heated discussions and our big old rage debates may seem important enough to make or break either title. When push comes to shove, well, we really won't, and because we're the minority of first-person shooter gamers, even though our egocentristic nature might lead us to think otherwise. So yeah, we're the minority, and so our opinions and our buying patterns doesn't really mean that much. And that sort of brings me to my major point, that it's the casual gamers who are going to decide who comes out on top. And I'm not entirely convinced that the Battlefield franchise can win over the casual gamers, because generally people like familiarity, especially less informed individuals. They'll generally choose the more familiar option rather than deal with any sort of potentially uncomfortable side effects that dealing with ambiguity can bring. So basically, when purchasing a game, people will go with what's been fun or what's been enjoyable in the past, just because it presents less ambiguity. It's more of a safe bet, if you will. And so casual gamers are generally less informed about video games than us. Let's say dedicated gamers, hardcore gamers, whatever you want to say. So the casual gamers are less likely to experiment when purchasing a video game. Therefore, the familiarity that COD brings as a first-person shooter, just the mechanics and the way the multiplayer works and the way the game feels, it feels familiar to people, and people will be drawn to that familiarity. And so COD already has the larger fan base, like I mentioned earlier. So I think that Call of Duty might sell more just because it appeals to the that familiarity just appeals to the casual gamers. And it's not just COD, by the way, that has this sort of pattern of sort of people buying a game based on familiarity. If you look at Madden, all the Madden games, the FIFA games, any wrestling game, just to name some off the top of my head, those games are all incredibly similar to each other. Each year they come out, but they still really sell. They sell really well regardless. That's because they just have that familiarity, which draws in people, especially casual gamers. So basically, to sum up, I'd bet that Modern Warfare 3 sells better than Battlefield 3, and that there'll be more casual gamers out there continuing to play the Call of Duty franchise than moving on to the Battlefield franchise. And But whether the machinima community goes against this trend, I think is a different story, and I don't really have time to discuss that because I wanted to sort of keep this video relatively short. I know it's gone on for quite a while now, but what can you do? Maybe I'll talk about that in a later video. And one thing I also didn't mention is which game I think is better. I know I said that I couldn't make an informed decision, but everyone has their opinions, and I'm not going to tell you mine here, just to mess with you a little bit. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be posting this video onto my personal YouTube channel, as well as taking a whack at the old Machinima Army Respawn Facebook app thing. So yeah, it'll be in both places. You can watch it wherever you want. But yeah, one last thing I think I wanted to say. Yep, that's it. I will be doing more of these sort of opinionated sort of gameplay commentary videos. That's if people will respond well to them, but if you just want to see me talk about the gameplay or whatever the hell I want to talk about, I'll do that too. Just depends on how well people respond to this video. But anyway, I'm living in bad faith. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.